Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Winstel Racing on ABN. Race 12 of 25 in the 2025 season gets underway today. We're glad you're with us for all the racing that's coming here this afternoon. It's going to be a very interesting race, as Sonoma normally is for the Winstel Cup Series. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Happy to bring you coverage from flag to flag here today. Qualifying currently ongoing. Single car qualifying, you'll see cars sporadically on the screen over the next couple minutes as everyone tries to set their lone qualifying lap here today. It's been a little bit since we've last raced. They last raced in Michigan 3 weeks ago, and the points, they are very interesting. Jacob Potak leads the way over Emily Howe by 92 points. Jeremy Davis sits in third with a pretty decent cushion down to the top 5. Dylan Roberts in fourth. Christian Budd in your top 5 as things sit. The defending champion trying to stay safely in the chase bracket as things sit. Brandon McKissick, he's been in and out recently. He's down in 6th place after starting off strong this season. Gabriel Mauricio, the former Daytona 500 winner, sits 7th in the points ahead of his teammate Nick Doucette. Tyler Head, the former champion as well, in the top 10, sitting in 9th. Larry Pace rounding out your top 10 as things sit so far. Outside, looking into the top 10 and into the chase, it's Ryan Doucette, Jose Solis Jr., who have not had great runs of form as of late. Brennan McGee, who made the chase for the Winstel Cup last season, trying to do so again here. He's got a pretty decent margin he needs to hit, and this is not one of his favorite tracks. Ryan Andrew, 14th. Kyle Benson, 15th. Evan Locke, Ryan Hill, Parker Alexander, Sean Pelleg, Jonathan Hernandez. They've all got work to do if they want to be contending for a championship once the chase begins this fall. And then you look a little bit further down the running order here. It gets a little bit more tedious. You've got Mike Rasmus. The battle between being in the top 35 is pretty close. Brandon Coppinger, last driver in. Tyler Murray, the first driver out. You've got Lucas Davila, Tom Willett, Anthony Krobach, Craig Lautenslager, Josh Chen, Corey Steinhauser, Andrew Griesbaum. They're all on the outside looking in here. Ashley Kolonix, who was a part-time entry, also outside the top 35, has to qualify in to these races. Has safely done so recently, but still, if something goes wrong, Kolonix could be on the outside looking in. Same with Matt Taylor, Matt Skipper, Thomas Lewandowski, who returned mid-season. Yeah, Evan Mellinson, who is trying to break through and make some sporadic starts. He's got work to do. Chris Bishop, Hayden Repas, we've seen him fail to qualify several times already this season. Rory Collins, a part-time specialist, also on the back foot. All of that very important. A lot of drivers on that list that are on the outside looking in. Not many runs going on at the moment. Ryan Andrew just went 7th fastest. Jordan Barabee will not set a qualifying time. Thankfully, only 42 cars on the racetrack as things sit. Scoreboard top of your screen. It is Josh Chen and Sean Pelleg, your front row as things sit at the moment. And qualifying will conclude that way. So it will be Josh Chen that will get a pole position here in Sonoma. So warm-up underway now. Drivers get one more attempt to dial in, practice pit entries, practice your pit exits. Pit exit very tricky here in Infineon Raceway as everything continues to get underway. And you see as they begin the roll, showtime begins. The sound of Gen 4 machines. First road course race with these rebuilt Gen 4 stock cars. And that is the 42 of McKissick drilling Tom Willett. And warm-up's going to be concluded on that note. And so we will jump right into race time here in Infineon Raceway. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our starting grid here today. It is Josh Chin, who's at a lap time of 1:16.940, 300ths ahead of Sean Peleg, your outside pole sitter. Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe sitting in row number 2. They were strong here last year, trying to be strong here again. Jose Solis Jr., Brandon McKissick, they need strong runs here in California today to try to put their seasons back on track. Ryan Andrew, Jacob Potak also looking to make some headway. Potak, your championship leader, starts in 8th. New driver Ethan O'Connor in the 78 for Furniture Row Racing. He starts top 10 alongside Ryan Hill. And then you have Evan Melanson and Christian Budd in row 6. Andrew Ferrinares and Evan Locke in row 7. The Argentine Lucas Davila alongside Andy Trupiano in row 8. Row 9, former champion Tyler Head alongside the DuPont Chevrolet of Nick Doucette. 17th and 18th on the grid. They sit ahead of both two more Chevrolets, Parker Alexander and Gabriel Mauricio in row 10. Row 11 is where you'll find Jeremy Davis and the former ABN world champion Christina Ryan. Steve Brown and Kirk Marble sit in row 12. They're 23rd and 24th. They're ahead of row 13's Jonathan Hernandez and Sam Willett. Corey Cook, Brendan McGee make up row 14, and then it's Philip Snipes and Alex Bates in row 15, rounding out your top 30. Craig Lawton-Slager, Austin Reedy, they're in row 16. Row 17, Larry Pace and Kyle Benson just trying to get through today in Infineon because better days are coming for these two non-road course stars. Andrew Griesbaum, Brandon Cruz, the last two cars set qualifying times just a few minutes ago. They sit in row number 18. Ryan Doucette, Jordan Barabee in row 19, and it's row 20's Anthony Krobach and Corey Steinhauser. In the last row of the grid, Hayden Repas and Rory Collins. They will conclude the 42-car grid here in Sonoma for Infineon Raceway's Dodge Save Mart 350. And you'll see Jordan Barabee actually starting from the pit lane. As you see, there's Josh Chin beginning to roll on the formation lap here in Sonoma. Again, we welcome everyone to ABN's coverage of the Winstel Cup Series from Daytona to Atlanta all season long. It's been a pretty long off season for a pretty long summer break, I guess we would call it in this situation. We are back, and it is going to be pretty constant for Winstel throughout the rest of the summer. Next weekend, Chicagoland. After that, it is Indianapolis. Then you have Watkins Glen, Daytona, Richmond, and New Hampshire before we get to the Labor Day break at the end of August. So everyone better get busy. Hope you've missed us. We've missed having you on our screens, Winstel, and it's time to get to work. Really great qualifying effort there for the 48 of Peleg. He had a very abysmal start of the season. It feels like he's finally getting it back on track. Not renowned as a road course ace. But the stars are aligning for the Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports here as we get ready to go. Josh Chin, the 93, part-time effort, not a full-time run. Trying to play spoiler. Pace car will move into pit lane. And the long wait begins for the field to get to start-finish line. Green flag flies, away we go. The Dodge Save Mart 350 is underway. Chen gets to a pretty breezy start. Let's see how it goes. 28 laps will fly by pretty quickly for the drivers of the Winstel Series. Jordan Barabee, his pit lane start, he is serving Matt, and he is out of pit lane now in the 42nd position. See the exit there out of turn 4. And down towards turn 7 of this awkwardly numbered racetrack. Watching this battle here, this is McKissick and the 22 of Potak, side by side through the S's. Bit of latency there for McKissick. Will spook Potak a little bit. Ryan Hill in the 7, trying to give chase as well as the 01 of Ryan Andrew. 78 of Ethan O'Connor, also sitting in the top 10 still. Here comes, that is, I believe, looking down the order, that is the 01 of Ryan Andrew, looking to the inside of Ryan Hill through turn 11. And he will grab that position. That is up to 8th place for the 01. As Christian Budd struggles a little bit. He is down right now in 11th spot. He's gained a place. He started outside row 6. He's moved up 1. Otherwise, a pretty interesting struggle so far as they go up the hill. A little bit of curb hopping there as he tried to hug it tight before descending down towards turn 4. There's 11 corners of this racetrack. They include the numbering of the full course, the GT course, that has the carousel attached to it. So with turn 4, you bypass turns 5 and 6 and get back to turn 7. And then everything is business as usual here. Once you approach turn 10, they're going through right now, and towards turn 11. See Solis, foreground there in the top 5. Right now, the top 6 are as they were, unchanged. It is Chin, Peleg, Roberts, Howell, Solis, McKissick. Potak's up a spot. Ryan Andrews down a spot. He lost 2 initially. He's gotten one of those back from Ryan Hill. Ethan O'Connor's lost a spot. You're watching him defend from the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, Christian Budd. Evan locks up 2 spots in that. Number 2, Penske Racing. And in the 36, Evan Mellinson. And that Centrix 36 machine rolling in the 13th spot. Andrew Ferry-Nares, who's had close calls and heartbreak this season. He's in 14th, and I expect him to be close to the winner's circle here, but still looking to put together a consistent result in that 14 car here today. Tyler Head in 15th, and it's Lucas Davila battling with Parker Alexander and Gabriel Mauricio, the Argentine and the Brazilian there. Davila and Mauricio battling with Alexander in the Budweiser number 8 and Nick Doucette in the DuPont Chevrolet. That is outside your top 15, though, 16th through 19th for that group. Christina Ryan and the Herbie fully loaded 88, right now running in the 20th spot after starting 22nd. As lap 3 is put in the books. Get ready to go full sail into this event. Pretty clean so far in the opening laps. You're expecting chaos early. You put 42 cars under a blanket. Those things typically happen. Not the case here. We do have trouble a little bit further down the running order. Car off track, Brennan McKee. He is down in the 26th position. He is still positive on where he started. He started this race in 28th. He is up to 26th. Kyle Benson, one of the bigger movers, he's up 7 spots to 27th. And Ryan Doucette up 8 spots after failing to set a qualifying time earlier this afternoon. He is up to 29th already here in Sonoma. Josh Chin, though, he is comfy, 1.9 seconds out in front of the Hendrick Chevrolet of Trompeleg. The Lowe's Chevrolet in 2nd place has about a second in hand to Dylan Roberts, that Viagra number 6. Try and hang on to a podium spot here. Emily Howe in 4th, Solis in 5th, still holding that 5th spot, runs a little wide, and he will be under pressure now from McKissick. 2 of the more aggressive drivers in the series taking on the hills of blind country. Solis running a little deep in turn 11. Will allow the Chip Ganassi Racing 42 to close right on in. And Chicken Potak shadowing in case either of these two make a mistake. close once you get out of the top 5 and looking towards 6th place. And Solus in 5th, McKissick in 6th. You saw a little lock up there. Puff of tire smoke from the 29 of Solus. McKissick in 6th, Botak 7th, Andrew sitting in 8th. Curtis Hill in 9th, and Christian Budd, who's gotten around Ethan O'Connor. The debutant. Budd up to 10th. Ahead of O'Connor, Evan Locke still in the 12th spot. Then it's Melanson, Farian Ayers, and Tyler Head, your top 15. Struggles a little bit further down the order. Hayden Repas struggling still and well and truly off the pace. He is already 50 seconds adrift of the race leader. Unlike real life NASCAR, there is not a minimum speed requirement on road courses for drivers. So Hayden not going to be forced to park for his slow speeds. However, it is going to make lap traffic very interesting. He goes off track again. Griesbaum down pit lane. 49. You see some damage on that Schwann's Ford. And he's going to lose that front bumper entirely trying to make it to pit lane. And that's going to probably be some extensive repairs to get to that car parked. So that is Griesbaum down the 41st, and I believe that is day done for Andrew Griesbaum. So official retirement there for Griesbaum. Corey Cook also down in pit lane. So 2 cars struggling early. It is the Josh Chen show. The rookie leads the way. He has opened up a 2.5 second gap. 5th on back is a absolute hornet's nest. Botak trying to apply pressure to McKissick, who's trying to apply pressure himself to the 29 of Solus. Ryan Andrews sitting in that 8th spot as well. Trouble, Ryan Doucette, Brendan McGee. This is further down the running order, and this is in turn 11. Someone's missing a bumper. I believe that might be Ryan Doucette, and indeed it is 13 of Doucette. Only 2 cars involved, not a caution, but Ryan Doucette with some significant problems. It looks like it disconnected right front tire, and he's going to come to a stop on the outside of turn number 1. And I believe we do have a replay of what happened there. Let's take a look. This is Ryan Doucette, who sends it in deep, flips the tire barrel in turn 11, sends McGee for a bit of a ride, but takes the hardest hit himself. Stoppable force meets an immovable object. The immovable object has won, and Ryan Doucette's race has come to a close as quickly as he was trying to surge forward in the competition. He will now be stuck on pit lane. He is down in 40th place. He started 37th. He was battling for 25th. Meanwhile, the other driver of that, Brandon McKee, he's lost a few spots here. Now back down in the 31st position, excuse me, behind Alex Bates in that silver bullet and ahead of Tom Willett. And the Wood Brothers Racing 21, that Air Force car in 32nd. Larry Pace, 33rd. Talked about him being on the fringe of the top 10. This is a race that'll knock him out of the top 10, and he's got to race it back in Chicagoland next week. But he's got some time. The playoffs don't, or the Chase for Winstel Cup doesn't begin until late August. And he's been strong on all the non-road course variants. He just got to survive the final road course of the season in Watkins Glen. Still under a cluster of cars here. Botak goes deep and McKissick spins. And McKissick's got trouble. He's missing his bumper. He went into the tire barrier. McKissick went for a spin. Ryan Andrew goes up to 6th. Ryan Hill to 7th. Christian Budd to 8th. Then you have McKissick, who looks otherwise unscathed, in 9th. But Botak, your points leader, an unforced error. puts him out of the top 10 and languishing with all the damage on the nose of that Caterpillar Chevrolet. That Bill Davis racing machine will be needing to come down pit lane here soon. Pit stop's not far away anyway. See if he can get to about lap 14, lap 15 to make that pit stop to get that nose taken care of. And here's what happened. This was the run into turn 11. See, Kotek just late brakes so hard and just clips the back of 42 of McKissick, who loses spots. Ethan O'Connor almost lost a lot of spots as well. His debut, it's that he gets up to the 10th spot, survives that. And it is going to be trouble for Jacob Kotek. We'll see if I can get an onboard here of one of these cars. We're going to have the roll bar camera here. Right next to the driver's head of Kotek. Just really late on the brakes. And yeah, just tagged the fence there. I think he was trying to cede that position to McKissick, trying to right that wrong, and paid for it. Now he's under pressure from that Evan Locke. Okay, whoa, trouble, Kotek, and he's coming to a complete stop here. So something bigger is an issue for the 22. The points leader is going to have a horrible day and could potentially lose the points lead to Emily Howe. Emily Howe in 4th place right now will stand to gain a significant amount. It looks like both the 8 and the 24 have had a brief excursion off the racetrack. Here's a replay of that. A quick replay of Alexander and Dissette. That is wide at turn 10, and it's wide at turn 10 for both of them. Emily Howe in the 4th position. Watching as Dylan Roberts tries to crawl in the 48 of Sean Pellick. Pit stops happening a little bit. Jeremy Davis has come down pit lane with the number 4 machine. And Grease Bomb's day officially done. Corey Cook back out on the racetrack. Same cannot be said currently for Jacob Kotek and Ryan Doucette. Brandon McKissick, a little bit of latency affecting the 42 Chip Ganassi Racing Chevrolet. He's sitting right now in the 9th spot, but struggling. Solis comes in. Does McKissick come down pit lane, or does he have complete latency fallout? He just might be completely out. There he is. Huge concerns for the 42 of McKissick. Ethan O'Connor stays out, as does Evan Locke. Tyler Head comes down the pit lane. Number 44, Kellogg Chevrolet. We'll make a pit stop here. And this kind of confirms that we might be looking at a 2-stop race with a short pit stop at the end. See how this plays out. Either we've got a 1-stop race, we got some drivers just pitting early to try to gain track position, or we are looking at a very close fuel mileage event. We'll see. The race leader does, Josh Chen. Nearly 5 seconds away from the nearest car. As he rolls through turn 10, and he will stay out another lap. So it looks like it is going to be a pretty easy 1-stop event here, with some drivers just coming down early to grab those tires. Nobody from the top 5 came down pit lane that time, so we're going to wait a little bit longer. Christian Budd down the pit lane now, defending champion. This was sitting in 8th place. Ethan O'Connor tags the fence as he also comes down pit lane. So will Mauricio, and so will Christina Ryan. This is Christina's second trip to Sonoma this year. Raced in the AVN Champion World Series race earlier this year. Got a top 5 finish out of it. Not a bad result. Christina in pit lane, as is Steve Brown, as is Mauricio. Austin Reedy also down pit lane as well. Josh Chen continues to lead the way. He has pulled over 5 seconds over Peleg, Roberts, and Howe. Josh Chen stays out another lap. Going from the top 5, coming down pit lane. Ryan Hill, 6th place car, though. He does come in. He will give up 6th spot to McKissick. Evan Locke stays out as well. Lucas Davila comes down pit lane. Andrew Ferrinares comes down pit lane. Nick Doucette will stay out, as does Evan Melanson, Andy Trupiano, and Jonathan Hernandez. Kyle Benson down pit lane, the second Roush Yates car. Sorry, not Roush Yates, Robert Yates car. Roush Yates engines, Robert Yates Racing. Kyle Benson, Christina Ryan came down the lap before. So we'll see how that sorts out. Brendan McGee stays out. He is right now ahead of Jose Solis Jr. and Christian Budd, who have both been down pit lane already. This is sort of where you hope for a yellow, but it's going to be a struggle to get as Ryan Hill comes out right behind Christian Budd. Up the hill they go. Ryan Hill will have to get those tires up to temperature pretty quickly. These Goodyear tires will not fail him on that, though. They will absorb heat rapidly here in California. Top 13 have all yet to come down pit lane. Josh Chen staying out once again to start lap 15. And he is joined by all the top 5. Evan Locke in 7th place. He will come down pit lane in that Penske Ford. Nick Doucette in 8th place. Then it's Andy Trupiano coming down pit lane as well. Evan Melanson will gain some position by staying out here. He'll move to 7th. Kirk Marble down pit lane. Hernandez down pit lane. How about Brendan McGee? He goes through turn 10, runs a little wide. He will move out of the way for Solis and come down pit lane. As will Tom Willett. Corey Steinhauser's had himself a bit of an incident, and that would have been in turn 7. Not a lot of damage on the 55 car, so he keeps it rolling. As Roy Collins gets passed by Austin Reedy. All these cars a lap down at the moment to your race leader, Josh Chen, who comes down pit lane. How about the 48 of Sean Peleg? He stays out. Sean Peleg will stay out and grab 5 bonus points for leading a lap. He will also get around Austin Reedy and put Reedy a lap down. So your new race leader is the 48, Hendrick Chevrolet. Lee Howe stays out as well. In the 2nd spot, Ryan Andrews stays out and will assume 3rd for the time being. Has the lap down, Larry Pace. Brandon McKissick stays out as well. Chen, Roberts, Melanson down pit lane. Solis rolling into turn 10 now. It's a race to see where he is in comparison to Roberts and ahead in comparison to Evan Melanson. Should be pretty safely ahead of the 36 of Melanson. He's going to be well behind Josh Chen, and he might be well behind Dylan Roberts. He is nowhere close to the 93 or the 6. As they go up the hill on lap 16. 48 of Peleg. To the 12 of Howe. Not too far apart. Peleg stays out again. He'll complete lap 16 and start 17 as the race leader. Pretty decent stuff there for the 48 car and the 15. They both stay out still. Ryan Andrew calls it quits and comes down pit lane for his stop. But he is stuck in traffic. That is the lap car of Rory Collins, who has one of the first pit boxes that he had to deal with on his approach. McKissick also stays out. Only other driver that has not yet come down pit lane is Philip Snipes, the 97. The other 38 cars, whether it was through accidents early on or through the pit stop sequence, have made their pit stop. Ryan Andrew will stay in conversation. He will be ahead of Pulsatrix Jr. on the pit exit. McKissick up to third. We'll see if the information's correct. It is correct. Brandon McKissick, and he gets spun! He gets spun by the 31 of Corey Cook. Lap car Cook off the nose of the 42 of McKissick. Sorry, vice versa. McKissick off the nose of Corey Cook. And that will slow him down a decent amount. Howe comes down pit lane now. And McKissick might need to come down pit lane as well after spinning those tires up. Does he come down pit lane? Yes, he does. And the speed dropped off his fastest lap over a mile an hour faster. Look at Josh Chen, see what his lap time looks like here. He is looking set to set a new fastest lap. Does he? No, he does not. It's not far away though. This is the comparison to the race leader. Full mile an hour faster. What is that compared to? About a second here in Sonoma. A little under a second. You see Josh Chen, 6 starts. His first career pole came tonight. He's looking for his first career win by the time this cycle comes on through, pedaling down pit lane. Ready to come to 10 laps to go here in Sonoma. Everyone tuning in here tonight, welcome to the Winstel Cup Series, back up and running. Car spun, yellow flag is out, and that is, I believe, Larry Pace. And this was a multi-car crash, actually. So let's take a look here at the incident. We saw the aftermath of it. This is going towards turn 11. Willett clips the 99 of Lautenschlager. Larry Pace gets turned off the nose of the 41 of Gordon Barabee. Car is stuck on the turn 11 apron. Cars having to take evasive action. The caution comes out, 4 cars involved. And Larry Pace, the biggest damage goes to him, unable to get that car rolling again, and ends up having to move to pit lane. And it might be a little bit of mercy for Larry Pace. He was already struggling in this event. So caution is out with less than 10 to go. Your first caution of the race here in Sonoma. And you look at the 48. Sean Pellick stayed out longer, got the overcut, got the race lead before Josh Chen could pass him on the warm-up lap, on his pit exit lap. So we'll see. I would assume pit stops might be coming for a decent chunk of the field. It did not seem like it was a huge tire fall off, though. Not what we were expecting. We've seen various series run here. The Gen 7 Cup cars used in HTL, the Champ Car World Series machines on Wednesday nights. Those have had pretty significant drop-offs here. Not so much the case here. Not a lot of takers on pit lane either. And so it is Sean Pellick that stays out front. Josh Chen in second. Number double file restarts, I do believe. Actually, I might be mistaken. I think it's still single file restarts. This is the series that continues to throw me for a loop. Single file restarts, I do believe that is the case. What that means is that lap traffic will move to the inside lane, the left-hand lane, on the final lap of caution, if I'm not mistaken. That's how it is on the ovals. I know the road courses follow a little slightly different procedure. We'll see how that plays out here, but it is going to be Peleg, Chen, Roberts, Hal, and Ryan Andrew at the front of the field. We will go ahead and do a little bit of our through the field analysis here for some of the drivers at the front. Sean Peleg, up a spot, started outside front row, has moved to the front of the field, stayed out longer, got the overcut, has fresher tires now than the 93, and that could be a pretty decent dividend. Chen sent him to Gapplebee's on that opening stanza. He will try to do the same here, but he's going to have to go through the obstacle of getting around Peleg, and if there are lap cars to the inside lane, having to get through them as well on this restart. For Sean Peleg, it is a bit interesting. He has had a rough time. 2 top 10s. Those are all in the last 4 races. He's got 9 career Winstel wins, 2 in the last 3 years. He is looking for his 3rd modern era win, his 10th career win overall here today. Let's see if he can do it. You do see the lap cars moving forward. It is Rory Collins trying to line up here as we get ready to go 1 to green, I do believe. Josh Chen, 2nd place, started this race on pole position. We saw his stats earlier on. This is his 7th career start. Sorry, his 7th start this season. He's been in Winstel before. His 7th start of the season. He is in 2nd place with some work to do. That was Roy Collins getting the free pass. My apologies. Dylan Roberts, 3rd place, exactly where he started this race. He has not moved very far. Neither has Emily Howe. You look at his stats as they sit. 1 win. He's got 25 career wins so far. 5 in the last 3 years. Looking at his 11th start this season, his record pretty comparable at the moment. He is top 10 in points, trying to stay that way. Emily Howe in 4th place, where she started. Those two have not moved. They've been in the mix, but they have not been in the mix for the race win. That can change. They were with Sean Peleg before the round of pit stops. Emily Howe has done a fantastic job. 11th start this season. Has won twice in the modern Winstel era. Won the first time at Talladega almost 3 years ago. Won this season at Charlotte. 12 career wins in the Winstel competition. 2nd in points with Jacob Potak out of this race. Staying right now in the top 5 will ensure that Emily Howe will move to the top of the board by the end of today's event. Ryan Andrew has not done every race so far this season. He's made 8 starts. He's got a pole position. Still looking for his first win as he battles for Rookie of the Year honors as he gets ready to go racing. Jose Solis Jr. also a pole in the win this season, but it has not been a consistent season for the 29 as we get ready to go back racing. It is Peleg, it is Josh Chen, Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe, Ryan Andrew to top 5. The pace car is down pit lane as the green flag gets ready to fly. It is go time once again. 8 laps to go, make it 7 to go in the Dodge Save Mart 350. Clean and tidy, no lap traffic to deal with. It's a single file all the way through, lap cars at the back. And Peleg with the fresher tires by 4 laps. That will have an effect on how this plays out. Josh Chen will feel some of that tire wear. Caution's out again. Caution's out again, and it is up the hill, and this is a pretty big stack up. Evan Locke, Steve Brown, Kyle Benson out of turn 3, down towards the hill in turn 4. Huge incident here, 2nd caution right on the restart. You see the damage of this is 16 of Kirk Marble. So what has happened to cause the 2nd caution of the day? A lot of red. It looks like Brandon McKissick had some troubles. as well. Let's take a look at this restart with Evan Locke. This was the restart coming too. Looks like McKissick may have had a little bit of trouble as well, the 42. And this is all through turn 3. This is at the top of the hill going down towards turn 4. McKissick side by side with Mauricio. Right hill drifts wide. Check up there. It looks like that would have been with Solis and Ryan Andrew. That doesn't trigger the accident though. The accident's a little bit further up the road. A little bit of neck code between McKissick and Mauricio, and it is a pretty big smorgasbord. Christina Ryan avoids it. Not so fortunate for her teammate Kyle Benson, for the Petty Enterprises 43 of Steve Brown, the 08 of Andy Trupiano, and others who all got a piece of it. And we'll take another look here as they go up the hill towards turn 3. And you're gonna see the neck code. Just turns the 42 around. That's not on Evan Locke or Mauricio. There is space between them. That's where the 08 got a piece of it. Locke got a huge piece of it. The 25 of Jonathan Hernandez got a piece of it as well. Evan Locke made sure not to completely block off McKissick there as they all try to recover and get on through. We're right on board with Evan Locke. Up the hill, and you can see there the latency. There's daylight, and suddenly there's not. And Evan Locke almost gets through there, gets another piece of it, and watches the field blaze on by in front of that Penske Racing Ford. We will ride on board here with Christina Ryan, the former ABN World Champion, and we will actually back it up here to the restart itself. Christina Ryan up in the 12th position as things sit. You get the full revs there on board, the 88, Herbie fully loaded. A little bit of a Herbie move to get through this one, especially with the bottom of turn 3 being so blind. So we just have to pick a lane and hope that it doesn't close up. Davila in the 34 off to the right. Because this is the point of the track where you don't even see the smoke until you're over the hill. See it there, see it there, see it there, see it there. Gets to the grass, but avoids all of it and avoids being collected by Davila. See if we can ride on board with Andy Trupiano, who got a pretty nasty hit of this. And indeed we can. Right behind Christina Ryan too, so that is the difference a position makes here in Sonoma in terms of being in it or being clear of the accident. Under caution for the second time today. It is Andy Trupiano we're on board with. Sporadic appearances for Trupiano. It's to the quarter panel of Christina Ryan there. You see the 88 off to the left. Davila, the white number 34, off on now the left-hand side as well. And Trupiano just on the wrong lane. He gets a pretty nasty hit, but that is the 4 of Jeremy Davis as well. Not a pleasant time for anybody involved there. Green flag is back out here in Sonoma. Restart underway. So we timed that one perfectly. And here we go, and this is a little bit of trouble. A little bit of moving, a little bit of shaking and diving. But Peleg holds on ahead of Josh Chen with 4 laps to go. Through turn 4, towards turn 7. Chen peeks to the inside. Not going to lay brake here. Saw weakness there for the 48 car though, and he's going to try to capitalize on that. Peleg not nearly as strong up the hill. And I think now Chen knows that. Trouble further back, third caution. Davila and Davis. And there's still trouble. Lautenschlager involved. That is the 99 of Lautenschlager. And I believe that is Hernandez. It's got a piece of it as well. There's the 34 at Davila. And so we will jump right into the replays once again here in Sonoma. And we'll see why. As they all move out of turn 4. Davis without a front bumper. Once again, tries to send it on Davila. In tags the 34. Davila tries saving it. Gets spun up the nose of Austin Reedy. Several cars involved. Hernandez gets pushed through it. Hits Lautenschlager, gets hit by Tyler Head. And it is a smorgasbord of contact out of turn 7 towards the S's. Again, that starts Jeremy B. Davis. Wait for the screen to unfreeze in the replay standby mode. We'll give it a second. You're not missing anything. I'm waiting for the screen for the replay motion to unfreeze as well. We can wait. We're under caution. Replay animation, please unfreeze. Waiting. There we go. And we'll take a look here from high above. Again, Jeremy Davis trying to send it to the inside of the 34 and just nowhere to go. Davila tries saving it. Really make sure that did not happen. And there's nowhere for most of these cars to go because it does tighten up so tight out of turn 7. Once you begin going through the S's, you really can't go too wide through here. It's not for very long. That is indeed what happened. So back in full-time running. We are approaching now the point of no return. What that means is that we're going to have one green-white checkered attempt. No more cautions here. So the argy-bargy nature of this is about to get a little bit more severe. Back close together here. In front of the field, it is Sean Pellick that leads the way over Josh Chen, Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe, and Ryan Andrew in your top 5. Free pass going to the 55 of Craig, not a Craig Lautenschlager, Corey Steinhauser with the 55. Steinhauser, the Australian, back on the lead lap now. Browsing and perusing through your top 10, Christian Budd, Nick Doucette, Gabriel Mauricio, Andrew Ferrinares, and Ryan Hill round out your top 10. Jose Solis Jr. and Christina Ryan in the top 12. Austin Reedy involved in that last caution, but in 13th ahead of Evan Mellinson. Anthony Krobach in the top 15 right now in that FedEx 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Jordan Barabee, Brendan McGee, Tyler Head, Jeremy Davis, and Alex Bates, your top 20. Bill Snipes, the Crown Royal 97 and 21st, Evan Locke at 22nd, Kirk Marble 23rd, Tom Willett number 21 in 24th position, Brandon Cruz in 25th. With Davila, Craig Lautenschlager, Jonathan Hernandez, Kyle Benson, Steve Brown, Rory Collins, Brandon McKissick, and Corey Steinhauser, your last cars on the lead lap as we get ready to go back racing. Let's see if Josh Chen can do anything to the 48 of Pellick. Green flag flies, and we are underway. 2 laps to go. This race will end under green. Ryan Andrew tried to go to the outside of Emily Howe. It did not work. Emily Howe in 4th. Ryan Andrew in 5th. Christian Budd, he's having a pretty decent day. All things considered, he's top 6 right now. Let's see if Josh Chen can apply some finesse and haggle with the 48 of Pellick. I don't know why I was thinking John Hagan's name. We'll see him tomorrow night. There is trouble. Solis off the racetrack. Ethan O'Connor off the racetrack as well. But that is further down the running order. Solis down in 13th. Christina Ryan up a spot to 11th. Evan Mallinson up to 12th. Mallinson, he's gone for a spin. Huge incident for Evan Mallinson, the 36 car. Hard against the tire barrier. That is in turn 9. We are coming to the white flag. This is going to be at 1 lap to go in the Dodge Save Mart 350. It is the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet under control right now. Snipes has had an issue, but he is still rolling. Only a couple more opportunities for the 93 to do something about this. I don't know if he's going to be able to close in. It is now almost a second. Emily Howe in 4th. Got to lose loose there on 4. This was one of those opportunities that Josh Chin had. It's gone now. Side by side, further back, it is Nick Doucette getting around Gabriel Mauricio, both of them up a dozen spots on this final lap. Who gets sent? Emily Howe goes for a bit of a ride. That was loose through the S's. Loses a spot to Ryan Andrew, and will lose another to Christian Buck. Maybe, no, closes the door. It is line astern at the front of the field. Champelli will not be under pressure. He will grab his first win of the season. Champelli wins in Infineon and breaks the winless drought. Josh Chin and Dylan Roberts rounds out the podium. Emily Howe in 5th behind Ryan Andrew. Christian Budd in 6th. Nick Doucette in 7th. Gabriel Mauricio in 8th. You see cars flying over the hill, taking the jump at the end of this race. Ryan Hill in 9th. Andrew Ferrinares in 10th. Christina Ryan, almost another top 10. Close but no cigar. Will end up 11th place here. Jose Solis Jr. in 12th. Austin Reedy 13th ahead of Anthony Krobach. Tyler Head, as the results scroll at the top of your screen. Jordan Barabee, Jeremy Davis, Alex Bates, Evan Locke, and Tom Willett will round out your top 20 here in Sonoma. But Winstel alive and well. We've got a long stretch of races coming up here non-stop. Chicagoland next Sunday. Right here on Twitch, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Pacific. Champelli will come in as a race winner this season. Look at his stats going into this race. Only 2 top 10s to his name. He had a very abysmal start of the season. His 10th career Winstel Cup Series win. His 3rd in 3 years. He went winless last season. He gets to burn it down right next to the drag strip here tonight. A great job for the 48 crew. You get to celebrate in Sonoma. A wild run of events here today in Sonoma. Again, we'll go over the full running order in just a moment. We will, however, talk to our podium finishers in this race. And it's going to be a wild turn of events. We'll talk with 3rd place driver Dylan Roberts first and foremost here. Dylan, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yep, got you loud and clear.
That was a wild race. We went about 18, 19 laps caution free. We get 3 cautions within the last 10 of regulation. That 6 car though, consistently 3rd place all race long. Walk us through it on your end.
Yeah, I mean, just fun race all around, you know. Car was tough to drive. I always love the road courses. I think that's no secret. This is definitely one that, you know, for me personally, circle it going on to the beginning of the season. And I wish I had more pace. Chin was in a league of his own. I mean, if that went green, I think he's winning 8. like 8 seconds, 8, 9 seconds maybe. But the cautions came out. That shuffles it back up. That's racing. Unfortunately, it sucked for him. I mean, if it wasn't him to get it, Sean's definitely the second most deserving. I mean, three of us had, I think the top three positions most of the night there. It was just hard to keep up with them. They had a lot of pace. I never quite got to grips with the car. Obviously with the new Gen 4, it's a little bit different to the old one. So got to learn some stuff. Some bad habits are from the old car definitely hurting me here. But overall, third, you can't complain too much about that.
Obviously, it helps you out a big time here. You were the only driver to stay where you started. Third place is not a bad place to be. We've had a lot of off time over the last couple months here. A lot of holidays we've been trying to navigate here. The next one's not until the end of August with Labor Day weekend. It is straightforward the next 7 weeks of racing. We get to see a lot of different tracks coming up here. Chicagoland next weekend. We get to see the gauntlet. We got some short ovals. We got Richmond. We've got New Hampshire. We've got obviously Daytona's in the mix again. Getting back into racing here in full. Everyone's learning on the fly here with Michigan a couple weeks ago, and now here in Sonoma going into Chicagoland. How is the feeling going into the stretch of races where everyone's going to be learning at roughly the same pace? What are you trying to pick up the most here across this summer stretch of races?
Well, it's going to be a really, I think, transformative period for the whole league, just as far as who's running where, who's fast, who's struggling. I think some people are going to pick it up at different rates. Some people are going to struggle with different things, and they're going to get it figured out. Especially coming in after this break, feeling a little bit out of sorts, so to speak. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but for myself, I don't race much outside of this league. There's maybe one on Wednesdays, but I missed the last race of that, so I haven't really been in the seat since our last race. And before that, we've been a little bit, off week here, off week there. So to have 7 coming up in a row, I believe it was you said there, it's going to be nice to get back into the swing of things, kind of start to lock back in and learn and be able to take things week to week without not necessarily losing it, but having it get a little bit foggy in the absence of putting laps down and running races. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be good for me personally. I think I really need the laps. That's what's always helped me. I don't think I'm coming into this bad, but there's definitely things that I'm struggling with, and I can think of no better place to learn that than these next 7 weeks with all these tracks.
Absolutely, a really good run all the way to the start of the chase for the Winstel Cup coming up here this summer, all the way to Labor Day weekend. As we mentioned before, Chicagoland coming up here, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It always is going to the Chicagoland area. Before we let you go and let you get ready for the races coming up here, Dylan, a fantastic performance. As I mentioned, captain consistency tonight, only driver to start where you finished. Everyone else moved or gained or lost in some degree and helps you out in the point standings as well. If there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a really good effort here to get us back underway in Winstel.
Thank you, and yeah, I'd just like to shout out again everybody behind this league. I've seen personally from the inside the work that goes on. It's a lot more than I think most people would imagine from the outside looking in. It's just not one of those things you can really comprehend until you're in the nitty gritty. I appreciate the fact that after almost 10 years, I'm still racing in this league. Everybody up front tonight, fantastic. Chin, I mean, he was the face of the field, deserved the win there. Sean, the next most deserving. I mean, he earned it there at the end. He fought it off and showed it to everybody else that was around me tonight. I mean, everybody was taking care of each other. I didn't get hit at all. Like, it was just a good race. Great place to be. Thank you to everybody.
A phenomenal run of form, Dylan Roberts. Podium here in Sonoma, Chicagoland next Sunday. Keep an eye on that number 6 Roush Racing Ford. Dylan, enjoy it, and we'll hopefully be able to talk to you again several times over the course of this stretch of races.
Thank you.
And we will move right along to the pole sitter. First time on the pole here in Winstel competition. It is not the race win. It is a second place. The caution comes out at the worst possible time. Walk us through it, Josh, on the run and just trying to scramble to see if you can get that lead back at the end.
Yeah, I just needed more laps to be able to do anything there, and having the lead is such a huge thing here with being able to control your braking point and your line, and I was just kind of along for the ride, and the first restart didn't go very well, so I knew I had to be better on the wheel spin after that, and got it nailed down after that, but just never really had the opportunity to make anything of it. But yeah, second's good. It just kind of sucks after how the first run was going.
It is obviously we've seen this 93 car be fast with you behind the wheel this season, and the races you've done. This is your 7th start of the season. Walking into Sonoma, for those that maybe aren't familiar with you, was Sonoma a racetrack that was on sort of the highlighted list for you going into this season, or is this just a matter of your previous experiences on road courses shining pretty brightly here? Because as I mentioned before, you've been in the mix, but you hadn't had that dominant performance here. Had the caution not come out the worst time, Dylan himself said probably would have had a pretty decent lead going through this race. What was that set you apart here today?
I just really like Sonoma. I've always liked it. I've been doing sim racing for a long time, like 18 years now. So Sonoma's always been a track that's been really good for me, and I've enjoyed it. We'll see whenever they finally update this track if I still like it after, but just being able to use the curbs, CBSs, and getting runs out of the corner. I'm not great at low speed, but I can still get out of the hairpin and do enough to get out of my own way through there and make up the time elsewhere. But it's just a track that really fits me. A lot of it's really technical, and I like that. I'm not so good at rhythm driving. The S's here aren't really that much of a rhythm section. They're pretty technical. They don't quite really flow that well into each other, and there's a lot of curb usage, so it works out pretty well for my driving, and it's just a track that I love. Like there's no road course that I think I would rather go to.
It showed here tonight. Here, obviously the 93 fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.27. It came at the end of the race as well. Pole position, your first career pole in Winstel, and a second place to go with it here. Obviously, a phenomenal run of form here. You've been sort of in and out here. It's a long stretch of races for Winstel coming up. Is Chicagoland next weekend on the cards for the 93 crew?
It should be. Yeah, I don't have anything else going on that night, and raced it already in a few other leagues, and it's a pretty fun combo with high track temp. So should be some pretty good multi-groove racing, and hopefully we're able to create some separation.
It's going to be a lot of fun seeing that. It usually is whenever we go to Chicagoland, and next weekend shouldn't be any exception here. Obviously not the result you're looking for, one spot shy of that, but more opportunities coming up here later this season. Before we let you go and let you obviously enjoy the podium and get ready for the upcoming races this week, if there's anyone you want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your first career pole and a podium to go with it here in Sonoma.
Thank you. Big shout out to the Winstel guys. I've known most of these guys adminning for a decade plus now, and the first season I've actually run Winstel with them. So big shout out to them for having me here and letting me terrorize sometimes. And big thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and everyone that participates every week. It's a really fun series, and I can't wait to race it Sundays when I'm around.
Absolutely a fantastic job for the 93 crew tonight. Second place in a pole position. We will see Josh Chen again on next Sunday's race in Chicagoland. Josh, enjoy the podium, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next weekend.
Yep, thank you.
A great run of form for Josh Chen. A pole position, second place effort for him. A pretty good run. We will now move on to the man of the hour, the 48 Hendrick Chevrolet. Sean, congratulations on your race win. You're good for at least one race win a year. The last 3 years have shown that. And it's been a gauntlet of those races you've won. Darlington 2 years ago, Talladega last year. You've now run on a road course here in Sonoma. How does this make up for how rough the season started? Those first 6 races were brutal.
Oh, it more than makes up for it. I was just thinking about it before this race, how, this season has been real rough. I've been in pretty good spirits, though. Like, I've tried to just ignore the standings, just keep racing, but definitely been in some spots. But, oh, man, I sure don't pick the easy ones to bring it home. That being said, man, Josh Chen was in a league of his own under green conditions, and I can't believe it had to have been inches at the pit exit, because that was what turned the whole race around. Me just barely beating him off pit road there. Without that, there's no chance I get up to him. Like, he just was, like I said, in a league of his own, but this was a brawl. It was a chaotic one. Just trying to keep it between the lines, to keep the car clean is is most of the battle. And big shout out to Dylan and Josh. You know, he got into me at one point. He let me have it back. Just a lot of give and take at the front that helped keep it clean up here. But man, was it ever a brawl.
It was obviously a lot of fun here tonight. Obviously, first road course race with this new Gen 4 car. We've been wondering sort of what it was going to feel like, how it was going to drive. Take us through that decision to stay out long and to do the overcut, because you went 18 laps. You went 3 laps longer than everyone around you. You went longer than Emily Howe, who came in 2 laps before you did. What was the decision-making process there? Because ultimately, that's what got you the race lead. Was there any inclination, or was it just preferring where the car was at the end of that stint?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because in the laps leading up to the pit cycle, I was really starting to get worried and confused because I hadn't come up with a plan and I wasn't really sure what to do. I kind of knew that whatever Josh did, I had to do something a little different, because I knew if I followed him, that I'm never catching him on raw speed by just alone. He's going to drive away from me. So I waited to see when people were pitting. Once they started going, I really started to feel out the car, and like feel wise, it didn't feel like the tires were too terribly worn. And like the times had only fallen off, like it was less than a second of fall off. So I felt pretty comfortable. And when we got, and right when Chin got out of the way and they started to pit, I got the most open track I had all night. I saw nobody in front of me, and I was able to put down a 17.0 and I think a 17.3 on those 2 laps after Chin pit. So just kind of a combination of it felt still stable and quick enough, and having finally some really open track with no lap cars, I just went for it. And as luck would have it, I'm about 6 stalls away from my box and the yellow flies. And that was probably the most nerve-wracking part of the entire race, was sitting there in my box, waiting for them to put those tires on, knowing that Chin is coming as fast as he can down that front stretch. They dropped the jack. He was at 3 seconds, and it couldn't have been even a 1/10 of a second at pit exit. That was the difference.
It works out for you here, and it has been a tale of 2 portions of your season. Obviously, 4 DNFs in the first 6 races, didn't have a finish really out inside the top 30 in those 6 races. Your most recent 6 races, a win, 4 top 10s in those last 6 races. Have to be feeling really good now going into the stretch. The summer is going to pick up here, nonstop racing all the way to Labor Day, Chicagoland next weekend. Obviously, the new Gen 4 car is that 48 car feeling the way you want it to feel as you're ready to get back to business.
I think it is. I think we're starting to get a better grip on this season, feeling in this car. I like how the 48 camp is moving on into this summer. I think we'll take this motivation and hopefully keep it up at the front for the rest of the run.
We're going to be looking forward to seeing that 48 car at the front as well. The best finishing car tonight in Sonoma. Look good doing it. Before we let you go and get ready for the races coming up Chicagoland next Sunday, Sean, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your 3rd year in a row grabbing a race win in one of the most difficult circumstances, from Darlington to Dega to Sonoma.
Gotta get me at least one. Yeah, obviously, thank you to you, Carmen, and everyone at ABN for keeping us broadcasted, keeping us televised. Thank you to Brennan and all the admins at Winstel for, I mean, it's almost 10 years now with this group, and there's nowhere better for racing hard battles, big fields with just an awesome experience. So yeah, just thanks to everybody involved. Glad to be here. Glad to get a win.
A fantastic job for Sean Pellick. His 10th career Winstel Cup Series win overall. I want to add to that. So we're still averaging the 1 race per year in total. So you've had that going for you here.
I'm nothing but not average there.
it works out here. Fantastic. Sean Pellick, a winner in wine country. Sean, enjoy the race win, and hopefully we get to talk to you again a bunch throughout the rest of the summer.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
That was Sean Pellig, your race winner here tonight. The 48 Lowe's Chevrolet at the front of the field doing an outstanding job here. Let's go ahead and go through the full results. You see him parked there on the start-finish line. The full results on your screen. It is Sean Pellig, Josh Chen, and Dylan Roberts. Your top three. It is Ryan Andrew and Emily Howe that round out the top five. Emily Howe, your new points leader in the Winstel Cup Series here in 2025, taking over from Jacob Potak, who retired in this race. He is further down the order. We'll talk about him in a moment. Your defending champion, Christian Budd, said he was not proficient at the road courses. Looked pretty good tonight. He passed the eyeball test, sixth place for Christian Budd, ahead of Nick Doucette and Gabriel Mauricio. Hendrick Motorsports had themselves a day with three of those cars in the top 10. Ryan Hill in the ninth place machine, that number 7, moving forward. Andrew Ferrinares in the 10th place machine for that 14. Just outside the top 10 is Christina Ryan, your former ABN World Champion from a few seasons ago. Finishes 11th here in Sonoma. Grabbed the top 5 when she was here in the Champ Car World Series earlier this year. So not a bad effort once again for the 88 crew. The Herbie Fully Loaded machine had a Herbie moment to survive and make up that ground after starting this race pretty well down the running order. Started this race in 22nd, so up 11 spots there for her. Jose Solis Jr. had an up and down day, ultimately ends up 7 spots down on his starting spot. He started this race in the top 6. He finishes 12th today. Austin Reedy survived with a wounded race car. That's 77, ends up 13th. Positive 19 spots on the day. Biggest mover is the car behind him, though, the 11, Anthony Kroback, that FedEx Chevrolet for Joe Gibbs Racing, 14th place, ahead of Tyler Head and Jordan Barabee. Jeremy Davis in 17th, missing a bumper, but they get through one of the hardest races of the season and move forward. Alex Bates in 18th, Evan Locke in 19th. The Wood Brothers 21, if Tom Willett is in the 20th spot. He'll round out our top 20 here in Wine Country. This is where you start seeing some of the drivers that had some consistent problems. Brennan McGee in 21st, Kirk Marble in 22nd. Both of them have several off-track excursions. Kyle Benson, 23rd, involved in one of the 3 cautions at the end of this race, never recovered in 23rd. Brandon Cruz in 24th, ahead of Philip Snipes, who didn't have the pace, wasn't involved in anything super significant, but several self-spins and off-track excursions through the sand here leaves him 25th. Craig Lautenslager got his lap back, but a wounded car stays 26th. Steve Brown, another one of those cars, one of the almost dozen cars involved in that lap 21 caution, he will finish 27th. Jonathan Hernandez, he was involved in multiple of those cautions. He's in 28th, ahead of Rory Collins and the Argentine Lucas Davila. Rounds out your top 30. Brandon McKissick, one of the biggest losers of this race. Him and Evan Mellinson both losing over 20 spots. McKissick losing 25. Mellinson losing 21. They finished 32nd and 31st in this race. Corey Steinhauser ends up being the last car on the lead lap in 33rd. Corey Cook, 34th. Ethan O'Connor on his debut, not a great run of form. He ends up 35th after qualifying this race in the top 10. Andy Trupiano, his day came to an early close along with the 89 of Hayden Repas. Larry Pace falls out of the top 10 in points with a poor performance today, 38th for him. Parker Alexander down in the 40th spot. Bit of fluctuation there between Parker Alexander and Jacob Potak. It is Potak in the 39th position. Parker Alexander in 40th there. Potak enters as the points leader. He will not be points leader after tonight. And that's how your top 40 ends up. Only 2 cars left, and both of them early retirements. Ryan Doucette and Andrew Griesbaum will round out the field here in Sonoma. We get to do a bunch more racing throughout the rest of the summer. Tomorrow night, it is the HTL Cup Series. It is the BFL night race from Bristol Motor Speedway. That all begins 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Twitch as their championship rounds come to a close. No ABN Champ Car Racing. They're off for a month. We'll be back in action next Saturday. Doubleheader action, VRR Super Cup action from Phillip Island, 2 p.m. on Saturday. And then 8 p.m. later that night is the ARCS High Octane Series from Darlington. And then next Sunday, we come back here with Winstel Cup Series racing once again from Chicagoland. We're looking forward to it, getting back into business here for the run to the Winstel Cup Chase. On behalf of everyone here at Avian Studios for the Winstel Cup Series and all of its partners, thank you so much for joining us here for an amazing time of wine country. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow in Bristol. Until next time, so long, everybody.